honor for Urban Smile to be here at the Dr. Donna Robinson Clinic. We're going to interview her today.
Hi. What would you like to ask me about, Chalida?
As you're so popular and famous among the expats here in Thailand, the first question that we would like to ask is, why did you decide to come to Thailand after the medical school?
Well, actually, it wasn't really a decision I thought of. You know, when you're 30 years old and you're young, you just do things. I was with my husband, my partner. We got married when we came here, and he was a civil engineer building the expressways. Can you imagine what Bangkok was like? Can anybody imagine in 1990 how polluted, busy, traffic? So they needed a lot of engineers then to do the designs and to help working together in big international teams. So I contacted some Thai NGOs, and one of them wrote back. I was in London at the time, saying, well, we've never had a foreigner before, but you can come and work with us. And that's how it all started for me.
Oh, so that's why you came here, because you're...
my then husband,
right.
Yes, who's still my husband.
All right, and how was it like on your first day of arrival in Thailand?
I'd been to Thailand once before, 2 years before, on holiday with my friends, and I was mesmerized by it. I remember going into the Bangkok Bank and seeing these beautifully dressed people serving you, and how polite and smart, glamorous, and then going up north on the overnight train and just being mesmerized by the country and the people. But coming to live here, it was a total culture shock. I read about what you should do and you should do this, but I don't think it applies now, because to me, I feel more at home here than I do when I'm back in UK. And it was a big shock the first year. I started to learn Thai. I found it difficult, but I never felt good enough. And then gradually I kind of thought, I really like this place.
So it's quite not... Is it difficult for you to learn Thai? You can speak some Thai.
Yeah, พูดภาษาไทยได้ No, I do, and my children even speak better Thai than me. You can learn Thai. You can get a private teacher. That was the most useful thing, because I needed to learn medical Thai to pass the medical license. And I worked with a Peace Corps volunteer, Carla. Her Thai was perfect, so I never felt good enough. And it was very different then, going to government meetings when I was at UNICEF. And, you know, the Thai in the meetings was even different to outside. The thing about Thai is, and I always say to people, just say the whole sentence, put things in the context, because people do want to understand you. But if you just say one word, it's like, well, what? So it's not impossible, and many people come here and learn to speak Thai.
Yeah, it's better to speak the language that in the country that you
For sure, and understand.
So, what were some challenges that you experienced the first that you set up your practice here in Thailand?
I think, knowing nothing about business was a challenge. And every night, I think it's easier now, because every night you can go back and search on Google, on TED Talks, on YouTube. How can I learn about this? How can I learn about, and often it's psychological ways, how can I learn about motivating people? When I'm so angry, what should I do? The frustrations, but at the end of the day, we've got a lot of good days. I'd say to anybody wanting to set up a business, everybody looks at the office, the name cards, the practical things, but all you really need is a business that works, that is something that people want, and you're providing a service to them. The rest is just like paraphernalia around it, and people often get sidetracked by the other things. And nothing's impossible here. You can set up a business. And there's a lot of competition, which is actually good because you can copy from your competitors.
Yeah, so what would you suggest is the foreigner would like to set up the business in Thailand?
Well, I think if it's certainly in the healthcare industry or related to healthcare or in the past tourism, yes, you've got great opportunities ahead, because it's like a regional centre, and it was a regional centre for health tourism, and I hope it will come back. But it's definitely, in the medical world, a great place to work. And, you know, if you've got a product that's needed, then I'm sure you can set up a business. But so often people they think of something, but it's not what the customer wants.
So set up the business is not that difficult, but you have to put and afford to do it. Or you can contact Ban Smile. Okay, you're talking now. Well,
Okay, ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
what's the COVID affect your business?
It's affected every business, but for us, it's actually been positive because people are coming to us for so much information about COVID, for testing, for information about traveling. So for us, it's been a positive experience. And we've learned to work with some of the big players like agents sending us customers here that we knew nothing about. We've all become IT experts, like I think we all have since COVID. There's been a lot of stress. It's settled down now. And we know things are going to rapidly change. But for us, I mean, we've actually, it's awful to say, but we've done okay out of COVID. But so many people haven't. And that's why we're doing some community work where we can to help those affected.
Yeah.
And really giving discount prices to those who are. Look at the restaurateurs. How have they managed in these dreadful times? We don't want to charge people huge amounts either.
Or do you have a COVID patient came to you and asked for your consultant?
Well, we didn't want COVID patients
yeah.
in the clinic, but we've actually consulted with them on
phone.
video a lot of the times, and to monitor themselves at home. And it's definitely been a disease, an illness that I wouldn't want to have.
Yeah.
You know, they've been okay and they've recovered, but even after 10 days, they're still calling us, you know, with a fever, with weakness or a cough. And yet if it was flu, those symptoms would have gone. And we've had one or two serious cases where we have called the helplines, and even 191, the emergency lines, to get help to someone who felt their oxygen level was dropping.
Wow, doctor also give consulting for the patient who have a COVID too. If you got COVID, call doctor. Well, what are procedures that you provide for the patient?
We're doing a lot of COVID testing, and as you see now, everybody's been vaccinated that we see. So there's actually been no risk of COVID to our staff. Or to the people around us, and we're using still a lot of personal protective equipment, you know, the gloves, the masks, the gel. So the other services that are popular in Thailand are medicines. the good thing here is there's a lot of generic medicines, low-cost brands are coming out more and more. So people who have been stranded here, we said, yeah, you can get your medicine. Botox and fillers, of course, Thailand's like a mega spot for it.
Yeah. And beauty.
Yeah,
stuff.
I've missed going to the courses too, because we love learning from the Korean doctors who used to come here and have lots of trainings. Lots of laboratory tests we provide for all different reasons. The COVID test at the moment is still the number one. People coming in for the RT-PCR, the antigen, the self-testing kits, they're just selling.
Okay, so you provide the beauty stuff, Botox, and also medical consulting, and is there any other
service? Like what? Well, we used to do a lot of home visits and tourist visits.
Oh, okay.
We used to have 3 doctors a day out with bags visiting tourists. And of course that's changed, but I'm sure it will come back. We've done more video calls, even yesterday, 3 video calls. I think that's probably going to be here for the long term. And nurse visits for people who would rather have a vaccination in their home or a COVID test in their home.
So like in general, if the patient got sick or have stomach ache or anything, can come to the doctor.
For sure,
but I think like in general.
In general, but I think with all the hygiene precautions that Thailand is amazing. We actually see very few coughs and colds, stomach problems. I mean, the hygiene in this country is pretty good.
Yeah. So if you want to come for like beauty, and do you like offer stem cell or those as well?
We're not offering stem cell. The thing we can do is we can refer you. That's another thing. People say, well, I've got all these hospitals. Who should I be seeing? That's something we can do. We're doing some thread lifts too. Dr. Ping comes in and we do thread lifts. That's pretty popular. And more varieties of fillers and Botox coming into Thailand that offers the customer better prices, more variety.
Yeah, so if you have any problem regarding with the health issue or everything, can consult with doctor. So we're curious that you still go back to visit your home country sometime, or you?
Well, I did. I think like other people, we are now hoping from November the 1st, we're going to be able to travel without quarantine, coming back to Thailand and traveling. Yes, I still go back, and I miss England. Newcastle is where I'm from in northern England, which is super cold.
Oh yeah.
And I miss, but since the COVID, I think I'm like a lot of people, we're a bit stressed and a bit frightened to travel because we don't know. I don't think, the quarantine might be difficult for me to do the quarantine. Could you do the quarantine?
Oh, yeah, might be difficult. I feel like you are staying in a prison, right?
Yeah. A lot of people have done it. All my family did it. My son and daughter and my husband came back and did it.
Is there any difficulty that you are still experiencing even this time, even now?
Even now, the kind of well, we wish we could provide the COVID vaccine. Something nice. But we certainly, most people are able to get it easily, and that's the good thing. You just want your patients to find the answers they want. It doesn't really matter whether we can provide it or not, so long as we can tell people what to do. It is generally fun living here and getting better and better. What's changed in COVID is now we're getting about 60% of the people contacting us are Thai. I think other people have said that too in their restaurants and businesses. There's just been a change. And of course, you'd expect to see Thai patients, Thai people coming if we're in Thailand. But we were known largely as an expatriate clinic, and I think that's changing. And I think that's a good thing. Of course it is. The more diverse, the better.
Well, your practice helps a lot of expats.
Yeah.
So, how is that was that because of the language because you speak English, or because of your expertise that you got a lot of expat patient coming to you?
I think because we didn't realize from the beginning who our clients were. So I was being a foreigner, I was in one or two expat groups, like the British Women's Group, Americans. So you marketed, or international schools where my kids went. So you marketed to the people that you belong to certain groups. But now we're finding that's all changed. And we also saw many tourists as well, and expats living here. I think generally, sometimes they've got a question, that they just want to ask, and to come here. I think there's probably a bigger need for general practice clinics, and there are more and more clinics opening in Thailand. But maybe 10 years ago there wasn't so many clinics. But now we're hearing of tooth clinics, back pain clinics, all sorts. So things are changing rapidly, as they do in Bangkok.
So if the patient have back pain, also can consult with you?
For sure. And the thing is, we refer them to wherever they would find helpful to fix the back pain, whether it's a physical therapy clinic opposite us, like Newtonham, some acupuncture, really look at the different ways of healing that can help the patient.
Oh wow, so you don't have to be worried if you come to Thailand for the first time and you got an issue with your health. Dr. Donna Robinson is here. Well guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much, Dr. Donna. Yes, and don't forget to click like and share our video if you like, and also you can contact us for any question. You can contact doctor as well. We will leave the contact and the link below, and see you next time guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
What are you waiting for?
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 Yes, correct. What are you waiting for? The world may not be in a great shape right now, but it's very possible to come to Thailand. It's actually easier to live in Thailand for a longer time than it was before. With One Smile can get you the right long-term visa, find a perfect house, open the local bank account, or even open the business here. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below or go to bansmile.com and get started.